we're going to talk about money and financial. Today we're going to talk about the joy of sharing your earnings. I'm going to tell you a story about it growing up. So, the deaf community was excited about what was going on. There was 300 laws. There was some deaf CPAs. There was deaf teachers, a deaf principal, a deaf president. Looking back, that was 20 years ago today. Wow. And it succeeded. And there was a challenge in the deaf community. First was the deaf education system. A lot of deaf institutes closed around the country. And a lot of deaf children mainstreamed in different communities. And there was a tendency to have one deaf kid here, one deaf kid there. So it was custom that they would just see what was best fit for the deaf student. A lot of emphasis was about student testing. And it was really meeting the world standards. And the emphasis was test, and to graduate. Part of the deaf community I call Island of Knowledge. There's education, counting, theater. Which is good, but I don't see mainstreaming of deaf people in education, theater. There's no mainstream. I see many challenges with that. And I want to talk about the challenges from here on out. I want to talk about a different perspective. And living life now. Before, technical skills were enough. Now it's not enough. So we have to match with. So I've realized that once you graduate college, you're not ready for the world. And not ready to work with a team. But it's not enough. You need to have the knowledge plus, etc. ... So you need to knowledge plus critical thinking and problem solving skills. And you need to be able to share and create different ideas and have a different perspective. You have to have manager skills and figure out often how to work in different places. So, you have to have the knowledge plus various skills nowadays. And you need to be able to show those skills. So, we don't need the emphasis on this test, but other things. So how can you become satisfied with showing. I missed some information here. Missed a lot of information. Oh, I can learn that, and make myself, and I could add it into my toolbox and make myself, oh, I can have this idea, have that idea. When what's more important for me, and is the ideas, not only having ideas, but how to apply it to the world. And apply it to the real world. And how to make it possible. Some ideas don't work, but you need to apply it to the real world to see if it works or not. I want to share with you a story from the community and encourage you to continue learning and sharing your knowledge around So I see it starts with rock and roll in California. So the idea behind this is that you focus and you continue developing your skills in one area. And you have unique, so that your knowledge in that is unique. The E, people think that means busy, but no, ideas keep developing. I can't read, I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time with the side view. So you need to combine the creating and applying it. And now you have new knowledge. I see a lot more better opportunities today than years ago. So, before there was set up a financial literacy for kids, and I think in the Institute that was a great idea. And that teaching that was successful, and the idea behind that. And it wasn't teaching in one place, it was spread out. So if incorporating money and new ways of teaching, and they went out and to different areas and taught it that way. I know it's a general word. So, in this small community, so deaf community is small. Oh, you know this person, you know that person. Small world. How many, in our busy lives, in our busy lives, we come across people that, oh, you know that person. So each person has a unique connection with each person. And it's small, but it's very easy to go out in the world and know somebody. And it's important to spread your wings and see what happens. And the second one is internet. And growing up, I grew up in the 1980s and there was no internet. Early 80s, I remember I was being immersed in that area. And I went to there, but I didn't know about it. So through the years, the internet progressed. So now what happened is that there was more connections with the internet. So the third one is using more ASL. We see many wonderful teachers that teach math, physics, different kinds of education. And it's possible that can happen. For example, in the real world and how you work, in 1984, up until then, it was a small world. After that, people started mainstreaming. It's simple. With the progression of internet before that, and it became worldwide. So 2 years later it started. And we changed the program. We needed a volunteer to get some exposure. So there's a college in Boston. It's hard to get into. And once you get in, it's expensive to go there. It's about $30,000 for 1 year. So they provided open courses where you can go on the website and be able to take classes, and it was free. It was very popular, and they posted it on their website. And about 90% were involved in the process, so they had open courses. So in high school, there were students that could take a class called High Tech. It was a new kind of school, and it was interesting. And there was no emphasis on the tests. They wanted to plan for the real world. They had a global system. So the emphasis was on each student were able to create their own ideas. And in their junior high school, they had an internship. And they worked on their skills. And the high school was separate, and they mainstreamed them. They combined them together. And then senior year in the program, it was interesting. They could study anything interesting. And if it was a success, they would print it off and apply it. And so when they finished, they had a business education and community education. And this was in 2001. It was very successful. So 100% of their graduating class went to college. And it wasn't focused on tests. So the last I want to end with is the program here, IE. It's interesting. So who's mostly in the IE program? Students whose families went to college. So I see it's possible. So they have knowledge plus team and culture, and they continue learning. And the learning never stops. So they went out there in the world and they continued. In a coffee house, anywhere, internet-wise, they could go out there and be mainstreamed. And learning is open to everyone. It's not limited to a specific type of student. And there's a new kind of learning style. And the learning is very high tech. So that's the idea. Thank you.